G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildcard. Thank you for being here and watching my content. As always, it is my pleasure and the absolute privilege to talk to you about the greatest sport in the world, rugby. You are here today because it's Wednesday and it's time to read some rugby news. So, the final rounds of the Rugby World Cup warm-up has concluded and there were some crazy results on the weekend which has massive ramifications to the Rugby World Rankings, which actually plays a role in the pool stage for the Rugby World Cup. We'll have a look at the rules in a second with regards to pool stage tiebreakers. Basically, the Rugby World Rankings will be used as a tiebreaker in the final, the very last option, but we'll go through the option in a sec. So yes, let's go through the results. The one that started on Friday night at Twickenham in front of 80,000 sold out Southerner fans. The New Zealanders were convincingly beaten by the Springboks, 7 points to 35. The New Zealanders was never in the game at all. Really, probably, I think this is the worst performance I've ever seen from the All Blacks. And the only try they were able to score was pretty much an individual performance by Cameron Roigard, the reserve number 9. He single-handedly scored that try, running like, 60, 70 meters, solo score. And outside of that, nobody was able to really muster anything against the Springboks. Yeah, the Springboks was truly the stronger, better team on the night. On Saturday, there were a number of big results as well. So England lost to Fiji. First time England has lost to a tier 2 nation, and this was, I watched this game thinking that the Fijians could do it, and I really hope they did. And sure enough, they pulled through. Massive upset, and this is the confidence that they need going into the Rugby World Cup to potentially make it out of the pool and potentially make it into the semi-finals. Scotland put out a pretty convincing win, 33 points to 6 over Georgia. They had a bit of a slow start. Georgia had 2 penalties early, but Scotland was able to close out the game quite easily in the second half. Italy beat Japan, 42 points to 21. This was a pretty close game. The Japanese goal kicker was missed a few early, but it was pretty back and forward until late in the second half. The Italians really blown the Japanese away. And 42 points to 21. It was pretty much pretty close all the way to about 60 minutes, and then Italians put away in the last 20 or so. Spain lost to this is not the Argentina full team. This is the Argentina A team. So this is not even the full strength side, the Argentinians. 3 points to 62. Massive win for Argentina. And finally, the another upset that was almost occurred on the weekend between Ireland and Samoa. At halftime, believe it or not, the Springboks was ranked number 1 in the world because the Irish were losing to the Samoans. And I think it was 13 points to 7 at halftime. And it was unbelievable for the Samoans. But yeah, the Irish were really sloppy. Lots of drop balls in the rain, and was not a good evening. Not a good evening for all the Irish fans. This was not a full strength team. They did have a lot of the star players on the field, but the rain and just really clunky performance once again for Ireland. I got this Irish jersey yesterday because I was able to save a lot of money on my food this week. Believe it or not, I might just go on a little bit of tangent of what happened this week. So I went to the supermarket to buy some meat pies, right? Big, fat, juicy meat pies, and I got this like a pack of 4. I got to the scanner. It scanned for 55 cents. Okay? Somebody messed up at the machines, okay? It's supposed to be like $5.50. And if someone put it in for 55 cents. So I saw this. I went and I bought 4 extra packs. 3 extra packs, right? So I bought 16 meat pies for $2.20. Yeah, I was so happy with all the money I saved, and I bought this Irish jersey. Okay, and for the South Africans, $2.20. It's about 25,000 rand, I think. And so very good day for me. Got like a week of grocery covered for $2.20. And by the way, the jersey actually looks really good. The color looks a bit off on camera, but that's because the lights are all yellow and the green is like washed out. You can see probably better now. It's actually like there was a lot of complaints about the color, but it's actually like really really good. It's like it's actually not like faded like you see here. It's like a really nice green color. Yeah, it's actually look really good. So if you've seen it on like camera, it looks really bad. In real life, it's actually really really good. So if you go have a look at it in the shops, you might see that it's completely different from what you see on camera and on TV. And finally, the French beat the Wallabies 41 points to 17. What else to say? What else is there to say, man? Carter Gordon, 0%. He did kick one right in front. I don't count that one because, I can kick that. If I can kick it, it doesn't count, okay? So Wallabies missed all the penalties and all the conversions. Really, really, really concerning. So with that being said, the Rugby World Rankings, big ramifications. South Africa move up to number 2 from 4. New Zealand drops from 2, from 2 to 4. Scotland stays at 5. Argentina did play his real team. I thought it was the Argentina A team that played against Spain. But anyway, Argentina moves up to 7. Oh no, Argentina did play. Sorry. Argentina's moving up because England's dropped, not because they actually played. That's why. It is Argentina A. I was correct. So Fiji obviously moving up to 7, beating England at home. Huge amount of points being exchanged there. England dropping from 6th to 8th. This is first time losing to a tier 2 nation. By the way, I think the tier status for the teams is based on funding. It's not based on your rankings. There's no like line where if you ranked above that, you become a tier 1 nation. It's actually based on your overall funding as a union, and until Fiji gets like join the Six Nations or the Rugby Championship, they will be a tier 2, regardless of their rankings or results. I think that's just how it works. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then we've got Australia dropping to 8th, Wales staying at 10th. Now, why does this matter? Why does this matter? You might ask. Because in the event of a draw in the Rugby World Cup pool match, the final deterministic fact is what Rugby World Rankings, essentially. But this is the rules from 2019 Rugby World Cup. I couldn't find one for 2023. Probably because the date of the ranking hasn't been determined yet. Because it probably should be like last week, right? But it hasn't been determined or it hasn't been announced yet. So this is just like it should be the same from the last World Cup. So obviously you get 4 points for winning, 2 points for a draw. You get a bonus point for scoring 4 or more tries in the match. You get a losing bonus point for losing less than 7. And if you score 4 tries and still lose less than 7, you actually get 2 bonus points. So that's a really interesting fact. So when it comes to a draw in the pool, which could be very, very crucial when it comes to Pool B, the pool of death with 3 teams, even in Australia's team where teams are very close to each other, the draw initiative could come into play. So first up, it's the head-to-head between the 2 teams. That's the most, regardless of your points. If let's say Australia and Wales actually ranked equally at number 2 in the pool. Actually, let's give a better example. Let's say Ireland and South Africa are somehow ranked number 2 to Scotland. They just make it Let's just say that hypothetically, South Africa and Ireland ranked the same at number 2 spot in Pool B. Whoever won the match between the 2 teams will go straight out. It doesn't matter about anything else. If the head-to-head, the match that they play against each other, whoever won that will go out of the team. If that match is a draw for some reason, right, then it'll go to the points difference between the pool stage. The point difference in the pool stage means that obviously the number of points scored and the number of points against, the difference in that, right? So the gap. And then it goes to the try scored difference. So if for some reason the point difference is the same, then it'll go to the try difference. How many tries you've scored and how many tries you've conceded, the difference, right? If for some reason that is still the same, then it'll go which team has the most points scored in the pool stage. Now, there's a bit of a difference between point difference and most points scored. So point difference could be the fact that say you scored 50 points in the game and you conceded 0, right? Nobody scored any, so the point difference is 50, right? And let's say another team scored 100 points, but they also conceded 50. The point difference is still 50, but they've actually scored 100 points. In that case, the team that scored 100 points and conceded 50 points will be ahead of the team that scored 50 points that conceded 0. Okay, so that's what the number 4 means. If for some reason that is still the same, then it'll go to most tries scored in the stage. So you might be thinking that sounds the same as one before. The number 3 is try difference. So a team could score again 5 tries and concede 0 tries with a try difference of 5, and then another team could score 6 tries and concede 1 try with a tries difference of 5 as well. In that case, the team that scored 6 tries and conceded 1 try would advance ahead of the team that scored 5 tries and conceded 0 tries. Okay, so that's how they differentiate that. And if for some reason that is still the same, then it will go to the Rugby World Rankings. Yeah, so that's why this is not completely just redundant. You can get eliminated if South Africa and Ireland draw at number 2 spot in the Pool B, or everything comes down, then this could come into play where Ireland would advance to South Africa just because of their world rankings. Yeah. It's not fair. The world rankings is very flawed, but that is just the way it is. So, yes, I saw this. I just like to remind everyone, if someone was complaining about the Springboks playing 7 forwards on the bench, this is called a rage bait, okay? Not real news, rage bait. It's designed to get you angry, so we're not going to read this. And Kim, please don't report this in the future. You're a good journalist. You should know better. And so next up, the actual reason why the Springboks played 7 forwards on the bench is there was a bit of a injury for Willie le Roux in the training, but he should be okay. He had a knock on the ribs, so hopefully not a cracked rib. Hopefully he's just not feeling 100% basically, and just for precautions, they kept him out and put Huaga Smith on the field. So the Springboks actually had Huaga Smith at number 8, and they put Cobus Reinach at wing. I'm pretty sure he was a wing. He was either a wing or an outside center. He was out in the back lines, and they had what's his name? They had Faf de Klerk retaining at number 9 for the entire duration of the match. So that is really interesting to see, because they actually get to test out 2 things. First of all, whether or not Faf can play the entire duration of 80 minutes, because normally the convention is you don't play a halfback for the full length of the match. Faf was able to cope with it, which was big thumbs up for the Springbok coaching stuff. Another big coaching stuff is whether or not Reinach able to cover more than the number 9 position, which showed again he can. And somebody was telling me that Reinach, his dad, apparently was one of the fastest person in South Africa. So yeah, he got a chance to show that on the wing on the weekend as well. So obviously the All Blacks had the big red card sent off for Scotty Barrett. This kind of reminiscent the time when he got sent off. Last time he got sent off, in fact, by a red card was against the Wallabies just before the Rugby World Cup in 2019. And he was again, a high shot shoulder to the head. But this time, despite he was sent off for getting 2 yellow cards. His shot on Malcolm Marx on the ground is deemed, the judiciary had looked at it, is deemed not worthy, not dangerous enough to be a red card. So just the yellow. And because the fact, it's a weird situation, because apparently if you put 2 dangerous tackles in play, if you put 2 dangerous tackle and get 2 yellow cards, you can actually still get suspended. But the judiciary has deemed that the first yellow card was a team infringement. So he's just the recipient of that. Therefore, the second yellow card is not upgraded into a red. Does it make sense? So if Scotty Barrett commits 2 professional fouls and get 2 yellow cards because of his stupidity, then he can actually get suspended. Even though neither's offense is enough to be a red by themselves, it actually combines into a red. But in this case, it doesn't, because the first red card is a team red card. Okay, so a team yellow card. So that's what the decision. So Scotty Barrett is able to play. But more concerning for me, and I think for all the All Blacks fans, is the injury sustained by Tyrell Lomax. he is the best tight head prop in New Zealand, and he's by far the best tight head prop in New Zealand. And in my opinion, he's the only world-class tight head prop in New Zealand as well. So I don't think they have a replacement that is at his level, and I don't think and I do think that the All Black scrum will have a big trouble without him in the let me just turn this off. That's too bright. I do think that the All Black scrum will struggle without him in the Rugby World Cup. So he has, but the good news is he's sustained 30 stitches, so he got cut by a tag, but he did not in any way, it did not like he apparently cut into his muscles, but it's not gonna be like a it's not gonna be too long of an injury, hopefully. So the management is monitoring him. Obviously, All Blacks were focusing on Steve Hansen being joined the Wallabies team, and everybody was in disbelief. Steve Hansen, and what I'm about to show you really shows the difference in class. So the All Blacks, Dan Coles was coming out and complaining, not complaining, but saying that he couldn't believe it that Steve Hansen joined the Wallabies. There was the Prime Minister came out and suggested they're gonna revoke his citizenship, and then Steve Hansen came out after the All Blacks lost, went on the TV and said all sorts of good things about the All Blacks. Okay, despite getting bashed by everybody, he still came out on TV and supported his team. Okay, so that shows class. And Steve Hansen, I kind of agree with some of his stuff. He did mention that there's a difference in the two teams picking, and which I kind of agree, because going into this game, I thought this might be a factor as well. South Africa needs to pick right away because they're playing Scotland, and then they basically have the pool of death. They need to be on the top going through the pools. Whereas the All Blacks, even if they lose to France, they still got like 3 easy games to prepare for the semi-final. So the All Blacks don't have to pick at all. They in fact, it's better for them to not pick and then just cruise all the way to the semi-finals, to the quarterfinals, and then pick at the quarterfinals, because really everything before that is inconsequential. So that's kind of like an argument that makes sense to me, and I think Steve Hansen did a really good job, defending his team, defending his boys. Who did a really stupid job on defending the All Blacks is Jeff Wilson. He came out and basically said that the Springboks, I'm just going to quote him. He said, "That was the best the Springboks can play. That's it. We know we can play so much better. There's not another team in this competition coming forward we can anticipate that will play like that." Basically saying that, yeah, Springboks, that's just how good Springboks is, but hey, we could play a lot better. So yeah, it's just really arrogant for him to say that, and to just completely disregard and just to say that that's it, that's as good as Springboks gonna get. Like, you didn't just suffer the biggest loss ever as an All Black team. Like, it's just really insulting the way he talks about it. By the way, don't get too upset about Jeff Wilson. He doesn't really know rugby, okay? He complains about the scrum being boring all the time on national TV, okay? And the Springboks basically shut him up on the weekend. That's why he's saying this. Because he's made look like an idiot, okay? And he wants, so it's Jeff Wilson, mate. He's one of the worst, to be honest. I would watch this show more often if it wasn't for stupid shit that Jeff Wilson says on the show, especially when it comes to how the game is boring, okay? Just blows my mind. Anyway, next up, England has to call up some injured players. So another big injury that was sustained by England, which is let's talk about this in a bit. So yes, England obviously lost to, let's just start from this again. England obviously lost to Fiji on the weekend. This has been one of the worst English team ever in its history. There's obviously a lot of cause for Borthwick to be immediately sacked. There was a lot of really concerning stats come out, which said that Borthwick has won 4 out of the 5 tests, scoring only 4 tries and conceded 20 tries. That is a lot. That is a lot of tries conceded in 5 tests. And obviously losing to Fiji is not. It's really probably the worst of the worst. You know, it's yeah. I mean, people are very upset because the Bill Sweeney, the CEO of the RFU, fired obviously Eddie Jones, had to pay out Eddie Jones millions of pounds, and then buy out Borthwick from the Tigers for millions of pounds, like £1 million, and his assistant coach for like literally over £1 million for that, and then offer him a contract that is like probably millions in millions of dollars for 5 years. That's a lot of money down the drain, and the results are worse than ever. So obviously, understandably, that the fans are not happy, and it is, it is just, I don't know. I do think that the players are probably has a lot of responsibility in that. But I think that the coaching probably also has, I don't think it's 100% the coaching's fault. So obviously there was a big incident in the match where Joe Mala put on a headshot on one of the Fijian guys, and on field it was said that there was no video footage that showed a clear headshot. Everybody in the Fijian team saw on the field a headshot, but there was no video footage apparently. And so he's still not cited. Seems to be got out of that one. I do think that was really poor from the broadcasters to not have those footage. So next up, obviously England has sustained a big injury. Anthony Watson, he'll be out for the entire tournament due to a calf problem. He only returned recently due to injury, so it's a really big loss for England. And and I was looking forward to see him at the Rugby World Cup. Billy Vunipola has been cited, obviously, for his high shot. He's been banned for 3 weeks, and he will be missing out 2 matches at the Rugby World Cup, the 2 most important matches, which is against Argentina and Japan, and he's not going to be participating in that. So with the injuries to obviously Van Povier, Jackie Van Vorpia as well, and Anthony Watson, Borthwick has recalled Johnny May and Alex Mitchell to the squad to replace the 2 injured players. And then next up, the Wallabies. Now we have to talk about the Wallabies. So yes, everybody has come up with excuses for losing the trial match. The excuse from the Wallabies, as revealed by Tanela Tupou, it's that apparently the Wallaby has been training a different attacking like style preparing a different game plan for the Rugby World Cup, and they have literally prepared a week for the French game, a different strategy for the French game, because they wanted to keep their game plan hidden for the Rugby World Cup. So yeah, I guess I'm intrigued. I want to see how that's gonna go. So yeah, I'm surprised that none of that has been revealed for any of the Rugby Championship. But Eddie Jones, you got me. I'm in for the ride. Next up, Eddie Jones obviously defends Carter Gordon, and he did talk about in the after-match interview that he thinks that the team will eventually work, eventually become good. The process of becoming good will eventually happen. And he says it could happen 2 weeks against Georgia, 3 weeks against Fiji, 4 weeks against Wales, or 5 weeks against Portugal. We know when it's going to come. We don't know when it's to come, when it's gonna happen, right? He doesn't know when it's coming, but he's saying it's gonna happen. I think you forgot to say, Eddie, 4 years in Australia. That's probably the time frame that you're looking at. You just forgot to mention it, right? This is like the dumbest thing I ever heard. If the team finally decides to play on the 5th match against Portugal, a bit too late yet. Yes. Hopefully it's not 5 weeks against Portugal, because that is absolutely the stupidest thing I've ever heard. But Eddie, we'll see how that goes. And so Ireland next up against Samoa. Like I said, really underwhelming performance. And this was the selection match. So Ireland is, a lot of the Irish players was looking to secure a spot. So Andy Farrell has announced the 33-man Ireland team. Let's go through some of the players that missed out first. So Cian Healy actually in the match against Samoa actually sustained a injury. I think it was a calf injury. So he will be out for 5 to 10 weeks. Jacob Stockdale, someone that's just returned for Ireland, and he was really wanting to see him potentially getting that go at the Rugby World Cup. But he has been left out of the squad due to defensive troubles, according to people. And then they've got Kieran Flawley missed out, Kian Prendergast, I don't even know who these two guys are, Tom Stewart and Jordan Lama not being able to get in game time. The 6 big names, I would say, that misses out on the NFL 23-man. So let's quickly go through the squad for the Irish team. Ryan Baird, Phelan Bellum, Ty Byrne, Jack Conan, Keelan Doris, Ty Furlong, Ian Henderson, Rob Herring, Ronan Keller, David Kilcoyne, Jeremy Lugman, Joe McCarthy, Peter Armani, Tom O'Toole, Andrew Porter, James Ryan, Dan Sheehan, Josh Vander Fleer. In the backline, Bundy Aki, Ross Byrne, Craig Casey, Jack Crowley, Keith Earls, Jameson Gibson Park, Mac Hanson, Robbie Henshaw, Hugo Keenan, James Lowe, Stuart McCloskey, Connor Murray, Jim O'Brien, Gary Ringrose, and finally, the greatest of all time, the legend, the living legend himself, Jonathan Sexton. Johnny. Can't wait. I think everybody in Ireland has got the return day for Johnny Sexton circled on their calendar in the first match in the Rugby World Cup. Next up, we've got... so Dan Sheehan, the Irish is expecting him to be okay following his foot ligament injury, so he should be okay to be playing in the Rugby World Cup campaign. May not have him in the first couple games, but he will be fine. Townsend has issued an update on Darcy Graham, obviously the best winger in Scotland, believe it or not. Definitely need him, and he will be available to play against South Africa in the first round, so he is going to be okay. Dan Biggar has revealed this week that he's going to be retiring after the World Cup at the age of 33. Man, I actually kind of miss Dan Biggar. I really enjoy watching him play. Enjoy the mouthy, the running mouth of his. Quite a lot of fun reading stuff about him after the game as well. So Dan Biggar, I'm gonna miss you, mate. So Elton Jantjies has been cited for using a banned substance, and he's not in the South African World Cup team, so it doesn't really matter. Obviously, he had that affair which led him to being dropped, and obviously he has a really poor performance for the Springboks against Wales. He hasn't been playing in the Springboks at all, but he's been done for banned substance. Rhys Webb, former Welsh, also been done for banned substance for growth hormone, and so he's playing in the French Pro D2 league as well. Apparently the growth hormones are typically used for children with growth difficulties. Reckon I could use some of that when I was a child. And we've got, so George Moala was a Tongan player that was banned for 10 weeks. That was reduced to 5 following he literally lifted the player up and dropped him on the ground on the side. The referee deemed that very dangerous. So, and the judiciary agreed, gave him 10 weeks and reduced it to 5. And the Tongans appealed, and the appeal was failed. So obviously they saw Owen Farrell, thought they had a chance, and Owen Farrell obviously been banned again. They lost their, they didn't get a chance to get their what do you call it? They didn't get it. Their appeal failed. So Wayne Pivac, the former Welsh head coach, who was sacked just before the Rugby World Cup for Warren Gatland, has found himself a coaching role at the NEC Green Rockets in Japan. So he's been out of work for a while, and he is now, in December. So he's been out of work for over 6 months, and he's now got a job in Japan. So yes, he'll be enjoying some sake, have some sushi. And finally, the Rugby Australia has decided to finally pull themselves together because, the Lions tour's coming, the Rugby World Cup's coming, and decided to go to work. I'm surprised when you read through these things that they are not already doing. Apparently, they need to start doing it, a refresh, a restart to doing these things again. I mean, it's really bad. But anyway, let's see what they've committed to doing. So some of the key changes is that the unions will be overseeing community game. So obviously, like, I guess your local clubs, Super Rugby clubs will be looking at local talent development. Obviously, people coming through Super Rugby clubs will have the Reds Academy. I guess the Reds Academy will be operation again. I'm pretty sure they had that already, right? And then the Rugby Australia will be focusing on the high performance plans like the Wallabies. Pretty sure that's what they're already doing, right? But okay, apparently that's a part of the change. I don't know what was happening before. Did they just not have a plan? So apparently this things has been changed. So like, as far as my understanding, this is already the case. The Reds have a Reds Academy, unless that's been shut down sometimes in the past. They are, and then the Rugby Australia has the high performance center, or it's performance training as well. So I don't know what's changed here. So anyway, and again, the strategy between the member unions and clubs and Super Rugby clubs and Rugby Australia is it's again, when you read this, you think, why is this not already happening? So apparently they want to continue the on-field results, improve on-field results of Super Rugby clubs. May I suggest cut the Rebels, and then the rest of the clubs will have much better performances because of the additional talent. Because we know the Rebels is a place, a retirement village for 30-year-olds, right? And you go there to have your rugby career run to the ground, and then you get exported to play in France or in Japan. That's what happens when you go to Rebels. Okay, so why don't you just get rid of it? And that'll be a really good start. Provide investment in women's rugby. I don't know why they haven't done it. Attract and retain talent. Yeah, I don't know how you're going to do that. 4.8 million for Swali at 19 years of age. Never played a single game of professional rugby. I don't know how you're going to retain talents in Australia when you're offering such stupidly high contracts to people who has no idea how they're going to perform in rugby field. So good luck. All I can say. Drive focus on investment in community games. Again, I don't know why you haven't been doing that. Increase fan engagement. I'm doing that for you, mate. Send the money to me. And then you got improve the commercial performance of Super Rugby clubs. Again, really easy. Cut Melbourne Rebels and all the clubs are going to improve dramatically. Okay? It's just that simple. It's called synergy, believe it or not. Right? If all of your clubs are performing better, there'll be more people watching all the other clubs. And the viewers that you lost are the Rebels. It's neglectable. Alright? Look, seriously, hire me. I'll make more money than you for you immediately. Right? And finally, streamlines the governance of professional rugby. I don't actually know what that means. So someone please explain that to me in the comments, because I actually don't know. That's just words put together that makes no sense to me at all. Okay? If you know what that means, please explain it to me. Streamlines the governance of professional rugby. Please explain that to me, because I have absolutely no clue what is that supposed to mean. Anyway, guys, that's the news today. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. And thanks to the guys that, donated money and subscribed to my Patreon. I do appreciate it. I said I'm going to put up a list of the people. I haven't done that for this video. I apologize, but I will be doing that going to the Rugby World Cup. So at the end of the videos, I'll have a list of thank yous. So yeah, thanks guys for watching once again. I'll see you guys later this week for some I don't know, some content, I guess. Thanks for watching, and see you later.